near 40. This was a December pool. The temperatures were 41 degrees at the time when they started mixing, and the humidity was 80% for Phoenix. That's freezing cold and high humidity. But the crew knew. The crew leader was a very experienced guy, and he said, we're going to be sitting here all day. We've got a second job, and the mixer man goes, ¿Cuántos libras de calcium? And the guy told him, like, 12 libras, 12 pounds, 3%. Guys, the maximum we can go is about 8 pounds a batch or 2%. He drove the pool and locked it up so tight so they could get off at a job, and it was cold. So you combine all these factors, I call it the perfect storm. You have low temperatures, you have high humidity, you have a crew leader who's knows that you've got to get out of here. Now, in our tech manual, we recognize that calcium chloride, and is an acceptable product up to 2%. And really, with that limit is set because it's sort of like a concrete industry norm. But we always caution people that whenever you use calcium chloride, use it in the proper amount. Don't overuse it. And if you got to, plan ahead. If you're the crew leader of a job, look at temperature, look at humidity, and allow enough hours to do the job properly without having to try and, I call it run and gun. You know what I'm talking about because you're a plasterer also. Guys that are out there just pumping the calcium to it to get off of the job and get on to the next one. So that's why one of the things that we talk about is all these things. So we've got materials, workmanship. Next thing is water chemistry. The biggest problem in Orange County, and when I was meeting Tom, I looked at 14 pools and spas for a big developer. All different kind of surfaces, Corbella, finest finish, quartzscapes. All 14 pools and spas were discolored. All 14. Now, I ain't told you the best part of the story. Who did the startup? The plasterer did the startup. And in every case, the calcium in Irvine, Tustin, that whole area down there, which I've shared with Tom, was between 60 and 110 ppm. Not one calcium hardness was higher than 110 in 14 pools and spas. He did the startup. He never tested the tap water. And guess what? Every single surface, regardless of the manufacturer, type Quartzscapes is by Pool Corp. You have Corbella, which is from Universal. It didn't matter. They all turned gray. So, and I'm looking at them and I'm going, this is your problem. You didn't adjust the calcium content at the time of the fill in accordance with the NPC startup sheet, which says test the fill water and record results. You remember, and I know you remember, because guys, guess what? In this area right now, Beverly Hills, Brentwood, Bel Air, Studio City, all up and down, if you were to draw like a 10-mile radius around the 405, 101, do a 10-mile radius around that, you're going to find low calcium. I met, many of you know Danny Cervantes from Pool Corp. I met him on a job in Sherman Oaks. Calcium hardness out of the tap, 40 ppm. Never adjusted. Never adjusted. So water being deficient is going to do what? It's going to leach and pull calcium out. Subsequently, you get discoloration. So going back to our big five, so look at material, look at workmanship, look at water chemistry. Next thing is environmental factors. Environmental factors are things like, what's the temperature? Is it cold? Is it humid? Because you know that if you have a real hot, dry day like Phoenix, Palm Springs, Yuma, Arizona, 112 degrees, 115 degrees, 3% humidity, that pool's going to go off like a firecracker, okay? So in those pools, normally what will happen is you tend to get a lot of crazing cracks. But so what the plasters will do is to kind of set the surface, they use a small percent of calcium to kind of tighten up the surface to reduce the amount of cracking. But other environmental factors can be the water that comes into the project, a slow fill, because of low water pressure. Different things cause different problems. It's not uncommon for me to look at, for example, a pool where they fill the pool, start the hose immediately in the pool, and it's very cold, slow fill, and the spa, which set for an extra 24, 48 hours without being filled, looked beautiful. The pool was discolored because they started the water immediately. It was still cold. It hadn't matured or hydrated far enough along, and subsequently there was discoloration. So I see every kind of combination. So if we are about time,